still plenty of facts, but obviously I will, if I run out of facts, I'll just talk about again why we're doing this. So big point, and I've already said it before, but it is a fact that needs to be stated again. Domestic abuse is a crime. No two ways about it. Refuge have fought very hard to get legislation working for the victims of domestic abuse, and there are no questions in the courts now. Domestic abuse is a crime. So let's look at different forms of domestic abuse. Okay, I'm going to press out for that. Yeah. So you've got psychological abuse. This includes name calling, threats, manipulation, blaming you for the abuse that you're receiving, or gaslighting you. I'll probably look up an explanation of gaslighting at some point, just so that we can cover that. Economic abuse. Now, I mentioned this one earlier, which is controlling your access to money and resources. He might take your wages, he might stop you working, he might put you in debt. He might, for example, keep firm control of the finances and keep track on what it is you're purchasing. That is all part of the control that your abuser is exerting against you. And Refuge does have comprehensive services to allow support for anyone that's going through that. Sexual abuse. Now, this doesn't have to be physical. To constitute a sexual abuse, it doesn't just sit on something being done. He might manipulate you or coerce you into doing things that you don't want to do. And that follows in to coercive control and controlling behaviour, where your abuser uses a pattern of behaviour over time to exert power and control over you. Now, this is a criminal offence. So again, if they're exerting that over time to have control over you and maintain that, it's against the law. Physical abuse, is not only hitting. He may restrain you or throw objects. Ouch. He might pinch you, or he may just shove you and then say, "I was only joking." It's not a joke. It constitutes physical abuse. And again, it's an offence. One of the things that's really coming on big at the moment, and actually Refuge doing a big push on it, is tech abuse, technological abuse. He may send you abusive texts or demand access to your devices. He may install software on your iPhone or Android, saying that it's there to help you find your phone or if you get lost and things like that, and may then end up using it to track you, or installing spyware on your phone. Or he may share images of you online. If he's doing that, it's part of technological abuse, and again, Refuge can help you. There is a specific set of guidelines and support they can give that will help you regain control of your devices. You're not powerless with this. And again, in the links that I will share with this video, I will make sure that I give you links to all of that support. So I mentioned earlier that Refuge offers support for various types of abuse. So I'm going to look at a couple of things now.
Good stuff, thank you.
What a post. So we're going to look at things like honour-based violence. Now, honour-based violence covers a number of things. It includes the following. Things like forced marriage, domestic violence. Now that can be physical, social, emotional, financial, any of the things that we just discussed. Sexual harassment or sexual violence. Now this can mean rape, it can mean sexual assault, or it can just simply be the threat of rape or sexual assault. It is a criminal offence. Threats to kill, social ostracism or rejection, and emotional pressure. They may deny you access to your children. You may be pressured to go abroad or to move abroad. They may hold you under house arrest or excessively restrict your freedom. Oh, that's warm. Oh, and it's on the soft bit as well. This one's gonna hurt. Yep, told you. It can also constitute denial of access to the telephone, the internet, or passports and keys, documentation that you need to be able to get out of your situation. It can also mean isolation from your own friends and family. We're going to move on to something that is very important, and I don't have much knowledge, so I'm referring specifically now to Refuge's advice on this matter, which is something that they do provide support and help for, which is female genital mutilation. And Refuge does raise awareness of this amongst professionals working in communities. They contribute. Good Lord, that's red. They contribute to government policy on female genital mutilation. They actually do have some consultation on FGM and mandatory reporting, and again I will try and include a link to that in the description.
Here
we go. Didn't come prepared. So, just to go into this a bit further, so FGM is a collective term for a range of procedures which involves partial or total removal of the external female genitalia for non-medical reasons. This is sometimes referred to as female circumcision or female genital cutting. This is a global issue, happens all over the world. Practicing communities tend to originate from parts of the Middle East, Asia, and Africa. But it is a crime in the UK. This is something that Refuge provides support for If you have experienced it or you fear that you or anyone else is at risk, reach out to them. They do have specific help for anyone at threat of or have experienced this. It is illegal to take a British national or a permanent resident abroad for FGM, and it's illegal to help someone trying to do this. The maximum sentence for carrying this out or for helping it to take place is 14 years in prison. And it's recognised internationally as a gross violation of the human rights of girls and women. I'm going to go now into something else that they support and provide advice on, which is human trafficking. And again, they have a lot more information on this on their website. And they support human trafficking victims and modern slavery victims throughout its national services. Many victims of modern slavery are trafficked into the UK from overseas, and many others, including a significant number of British nationals, are trafficked within and across the UK and are held in conditions of slavery. Refuge also provides support for people experiencing forced marriages. A forced marriage is where one or both people do not, or in the cases of people with learning difficulties or who are underage, cannot consent to a marriage, and where duress is used to enforce the marriage. Duress includes psychological, sexual, financial, or emotional pressure and physical violence. Forced marriage is a violation of human rights, and it's seen in the UK as a form of domestic abuse and or child abuse. It affects girls, boys, women and men from any community or background. However, existing statistics show greater numbers of women are affected by forced marriage. Forcing someone to marry without their consent is a criminal offence. The maximum penalty is 7 years imprisonment. It's also illegal to take someone overseas to force them to marry. This is whether or not the forced marriage takes place. So you don't have to be going through with the marriage for this to be a criminal offence. It is illegal simply to take someone overseas with the intent of making them go through with a forced marriage. It's also illegal to marry someone who lacks the mental capacity to consent to that marriage. And that doesn't matter if they're pressured into it or not. It's illegal for that to happen. So, how do you know if you're potentially a victim of some of these things? I'll go into that now. So, we'll start with forced marriage. You could be a victim of forced marriage if you did not say yes to getting married, if you were not consulted, or if you were not made aware that you were going to get married. your family or extended family have used emotional pressure and or physical violence to make you agree to a marriage, or that you've been forced to stay in confinement and have not been allowed to discuss your marriage with anyone. Now, Refuge has an honour-based violence and forced marriage contact number. That number is 44020 7008 0151. That is their forced marriage unit. You can also contact 0808 2000 247. That is the National Domestic Abuse Helpline. That is free phone, open 24 hours a day.